I'm Bill Lavender, and this is fellow ag pilot Eddie Shores, and we're in Albany, Texas. It's the first half of September, and it's a nice, warm, hot day, and we've been invited here to do an evaluation flight of the new Air Tractor 502 XP. And Eddie volunteered to be the first to take the aircraft out and fly it, and he went out and flew it for a while and came back, and then I got in the airplane and flew it. We checked with the density altitude. We got a 4,000 foot density altitude out here today. It's well up into 100-degree temperature, so it's quite a test for the aircraft and the engine itself.
It's a good performing airplane. Got off the ground well with full load and then came off the ground without any problem. With full load, it was burning about 64 gallons an hour and like I said, working about 145. It was working right in at a good speed, and it has plenty of horsepower left. Extremely stable, and it was hot and windy here this afternoon, and I was impressed. We work in hot and windy conditions there where we are all the time, and it was very stable. I was extremely impressed with how stable it was.
I felt the same way. I've flown the 502A before, and it's always been my favorite air tractor. It has a larger tail on it, so it seems to be a lot more stable, or just goes through the air a lot better. The torque limits are 2395, and I was at 2,000, 2,050 breaking ground, and then realized I could go on up with the power. I just added power as I thought I needed it, and when I looked down to see where it was only 2,000 pounds of torque and 1,900 RPM, full RPM. So it has ample power. So a combination of balance and prop and horsepower, it just seems to make the airplane fly real well, real well.
No, and it definitely got off the ground a lot better than what a Dash 34 does with a full load at this kind of temperature. It wasn't had any problem at all getting off the ground. When it got off the ground, it was accelerating. It wasn't staggering along doing it. It was accelerating.
I'm second generation crop duster. My dad started in the early 50s. In fact, he even flew with Leland down in Harlingen. And I flew ag for 30 years, 1340s, mainly air tractor time, a little bit of thrush time. I've been here 3.5 years. I've got a little over 22,000 hours of ag, and flew A's for Mr. Shores for 10 years. So I like the airplane. I took off this afternoon. As soon as I broke ground, to go a few feet and you can turn and you're gone. I use 10-degree slaps, and most ag pilots will use a lot more than that trying to get off. It's a very stable airplane, and if you do need to turn, it's very light on the controls, so it's the best of both. It's very stable, and it's still fun to fly, very maneuverable.
I'm so excited to introduce the PT6A-140AG engine. We've taken all the latest technologies from our other PT6 lines and injected that into this engine. We have now over 20% additional thermodynamic performance and 15% increased mechanical horsepower, all within the same envelope of the small PT6 engine that's become the mainstay of the agricultural aviation industry. We know that as an agricultural operator, productivity is key. That's why with the PT6A-140AG, you have full takeoff power available up to 111 degrees Fahrenheit. That means more productivity for your business, more money in your pocket. In addition to the improved hot and high capability of the new PT6A-140AG, you also benefit from 5% better specific fuel consumption than comparable engines. The PT6A-140AG has no cycle life limitations on its overhaul period. That means that you're able to operate this engine long beyond when other engines have been sent to pasture.
I'm Jim Hirsch, President of Air Tractor. Here with me this afternoon is our Chief Test Pilot, Mike Rhodes. Mike, we've just had some guys come and fly our new 502 XP for an evaluation flight. We've heard some comments about the larger fin and rudder and the additional directional stability and directional control that gives a pilot.
I remember us having this discussion when we first started with the design of this airplane is which tail do we want on this airplane? Do we want the shorter 502B tail or do we want the taller 502A tail. The tall tail made a nice directionally stable airplane. I heard a lot of good comments about the stability of the airplane today, and I think that has a lot to do with it.
As airplanes mature, as you well know, they begin to get a little heavier, and the new 140AG engine at 867 shaft horsepower for takeoff, I think it's going to make a big difference to operators in the ability to get a full 500-gallon load out in a 502 series airplane.
You know, it sounds like we've got 4 or 5 pilots that all kind of have the same opinion of the airplane. It's going to be a pretty good machine.
It was working right in at a good speed, and it has plenty of horsepower left.
It has a larger tail on it, so it seems to be a lot more stable or goes through the air a lot better.
It's very stable, and it's still fun to fly. It's very maneuverable.
With the PT6A-140AG, you have full takeoff power available up to 111 degrees Fahrenheit.
Sounds like it's going to be a pretty good machine.